In the last lecture, we have completed the asset accounting. Now we are going to see this financial statement version. So our next topic is financial statement version. So what we are going to do in this, whatever the balances you have for your GL, so those balances you are going to maintain under this financial statement version. So we can create the balance sheet and profit loss statement with the help of this financial statement version. How it is to be created, for this we can follow this path. SPRO financial accounting, GL business closing document, define the financial statement version, or we can simply run transaction code OB58. Let's run transaction code OB58. For your financial statement version, you need to give the ID, and the length of this ID standard we have been given by SAP up to the 4 character could be alphanumeric. So click on the new entry button. You can just see here we have been given a list of financial statement version, and if we want to find out the standard financial statement version ID, so it is INT. So we can search for INT. It is the standard provided by the SAP. So we can double click on this, and then we can see the financial statement item under it. So you can have a single financial statement version for all your company code, or for a particular set of company code, or for a single company code. So we can just see here we have been given the GL, and below these GLs we have been, these are the GL account group, and below this account group we have been given the GLs. So here it has been given the range. So on the same line we will be creating our own financial statement version. Click on the new entry button, give the ID for the financial statement version. It is, let it be 2244, and we can give the description as financial statement version as 2244. We need to give the language for this financial statement version, let it be English language, and we need to assign the chart of account. Chart of account we are using for this company code, it is again 2244, and then we need to save it. Enter. You, then after that chart of account we have assigned, and then we need to click on this financial statement item. Then we need to keep the cursor on the financial statement item 2244 in our case, and then click on the create button. So when we will click on the create button, under the balance sheet and profit and loss, it is saying that we need to add these three items: income, expense, surplus, loss, carry to the balance sheet. So let's click on the financial statement item, keep the cursor on the 2244 financial statement version, and then click on the create button. And then we can have here incomes, expense, and then surplus or loss carry to balance sheet. Now press enter button or click on this green button, and here you can just see we have these two item, income and expense. This is to be maintained under the liability and asset. So how to do it? For this, what you do, you first selected income, click on the select option. Now we need to reassign under which ID, under which item you want to reassign it. So under the asset I want to reassign it. Keep the cursor on the no text exist, and also for this liability and asset you double click on this and give the name as liability, and then give the name as assets, let it be liabilities. Now keep the cursor on the asset, and then you can see here there is a button called reassignment. You need to click on this reassignment button, and then select this option called same level, press enter button. So you can just see that income now has come under the asset. Same way you keep the cursor on the first, you select expense. First we need to select expense, click on the select option where you want to reassign under the income. So keep the cursor on the income, click on the reassign button, and once again press enter button. So we have here four items: liability, assets, income and expense. Now what next we need to do? It is saying that you can double click on this no text exist and give the name as liability and assets, so that we have already done. Then reassignment, so reassignment again we have done. Now it is saying that we need to add the account group items under the main head like liability, asset, expense and income. So what are these items we have under this main item called liability? So in our case we have share capital, reserves and surpluses, profit and loss, appropriation account, accumulated depreciation, secured, unsecured loan, and current liability. So where it is to be added, keep the cursor on the liability, click on the create item button, and then we have our first account group ID as share capital, then reserves and surpluses, then P&L appropriation account, then accumulated depreciation, accumulated depreciation, secured loan, unsecured loan, and current liabilities. Now press enter button. Same way you need to add the item under the asset. So click on the keep the cursor on the asset, select this asset, and then click on the create button. So item we need to add under the asset. These are fixed asset, current asset, miscellaneous expenditure not yet registered. So we have fixed assets, current assets, then we have miscellaneous expenditure not yet registered. Press enter button. Then same way under the income you add the item. Click on the create button, and under the income we have sales, we have other incomes. So we have here other incomes, then we have increase decrease of stock, increase decrease of stock, enter. Then scroll down, keep the cursor on expense, add the item, click on create item. Under the expense we have expenditure, under the expenditure we have raw material consumption, raw material consumption, we have personnel cost, then we have manufacturing cost, manufacturing cost, administration cost, depreciation, interest and depreciation. So let it be interest, below this depreciation, enter. So these are the items we have added under the main head liability, asset, income and expense. What next we need to do? So after doing this, it is saying that we need to double click on this item called net result profit and give the name as net or net profit transfer from P&L. So we need to go up, and here we need to select the item called net result profit. Net result profit, double click on this. Item name is net profit transfer, net profit transfer from P&L, then enter. Same way for the net loss, double click on the no text exist and give the text as net loss transfer from P&L and enter. Then what next we need to do? It is saying that this item called net profit transfer from P&L, this is to be assigned under this P&L appropriation, whereas this net loss transfer from P&L needs to be assigned under the miscellaneous expenditure not yet adjusted. So first let's select this net profit transfer from P&L selected, and then where we want to assign it, we want to reassign it under this profit and loss appropriation account. Keep the cursor on this, click on the reassignment button, and this time we will not be reassigning at a same level but at a subordinate level. Enter. Same thing we will be doing for the net loss. Selected, click on the select option, and here we have the item called miscellaneous expenditure not yet adjusted. Keep the cursor on this, click on the reassignment button, and then again select the subordinate option and then enter. Now we need to save it, click on the save option. Then in the next step, whatever the GL account group range we have maintained, so that range we are going to assign to each of the item we have. So here we can press enter button. So we can start with the share capital. Share capital. Under the liability, we can start with share capital. Click on this button, keep the cursor on share capital. Click on the assign account button. So for the share capital, we have the GL number range starting from 100,000 to 100,099, and we need to select both of these two checkboxes, debit and credit. Then we have the next GL account group as reserves and surpluses. For that, we have maintained the GL range from 100, 100 to 100, 199, plus select debit, select credit, enter. Then accumulated depreciation range is 100, 200 to 100, 299, debit, credit, enter. Select debit, credit. Then we have the next item as a secured loan, and we can assign the GL range as 100, 300 to 100, 399, debit, credit, enter. Then we have unsecured loan, range is 100, 400 to 100, 499, debit, credit, enter. And for current liability, we have the GL range starting from 100, 500 to 100, 599, debit, credit. So this we have done for liability. Let it be for now assets, and for assets we have the fixed asset item. For this we have the range. It is from 200,000 to 200,099. Select debit, credit. For current asset we have the GL range 200, 100 to 200, 199, debit, credit. And then after the assets we have sales. For sale we can assign the GL range 300,000 to 300,099, debit, credit. Then for other income it is 300, 100 to 300, 199, debit, credit. Then increase and decrease of stock, we have the GL range from 300, 200 to 300, 299, debit, credit. And then we have for expense raw material consumption. So from where we have taken these account group, if you go to the basic setting, so these are the account group we are adding here. Okay. So this you will be able to get it under the basic setting practice sheet. Now we have here the raw material consumption under the expenses, and assign the GL range for raw material consumption as 400,000 to 400,099. Select debit, credit. Personnel cost we can assign the GL range 400, 100 to 400, 199, debit, credit. Manufacturing cost we can link the GL range 400, 300 to 400, 399, debit, credit. Administration cost, we can assign the GL range 400, just a minute, manufacturing, okay. Here actually this range is supposed to be 400, 200 to 400, 299. So how to correct it? Double click on this, and here we can correct the GL range from 400, 200 to 400, 299. Then we have the next as admin. Click on assign the GL range from 400, 300 to 400, 399. Select debit, credit. For interest we have GL range 400, 400 to 400, 499. Select debit, credit. And depreciation we can link the GL range 400, 500 to 400, 599. So we have assigned all our GL range. We have assigned here all our GL ranges. Now we need to save it once again. And what next we have here? So after assigning all your GLs, it is saying that we need to give the text. So how you want this financial statement to be displayed? For that, we can have the main item like expenses, then income, assets as a main item. So here these are the four items: liability, asset, income, and expenses. So for these four items, what do you do? You first select on the liability and give the name of the start of the group, end of the group. So when you are going to publish your or display your financial statement version, so it is going to show you the start of the group as heading as liability and end of the group as whatever the text you will be maintaining here. So in our case, we are writing that under this liability should be shown as the header part should be shown as liabilities, whereas footer for the liabilities should be shown as total liability, total liabilities. Same way for asset, we want the system to display assets as header and total asset as footer. Then double click on the income, and here we can have for income header as income, footer as total income. Make sure for all these main items you have this display total checkbox selected. Then we have the expenses, and expenses we want to have the header as expenses, footer as total expenses. Enter. Same way for the item we have under these subhead. So these are to be captioned. So for that we need to maintain the header and footer. So we can start with fixed asset. So for the fixed asset, we can have the start of the group as application of funds. So let's have here application of funds, and end of the group for fixed asset as fixed assets only. Enter. Then for current asset, we don't want to have the header, only we want to have the footer as current asset. Then we have the sales, and we don't want to have the header, so we want to have the footer as sales. Then for other income, we want to have the footer as other income. Increase decrease of stock, same thing, footer as increase decrease of stock. Raw material consumption, we can have here raw material consumption as footer. Then personal cost as footer or end of the group. Manufacturing as footer as manufacturing, it should display. Then administration cost should be displayed with the footer, administration cost, and interest should be displayed as interest as footer, and depreciation should be displayed as depreciation. Then we have the liability item. Under the liability we have share capital. So we want to have here the source as or start of the group as source of capital and end of the group as share capital. Then we have reserves and surpluses. We want to have only the footer, reserves and surpluses. Then we have the accumulated depreciation as footer. Double click on this, give at the under the end of the group accumulated depreciation. Then we have secured loan as footer, unsecured loan, then unsecured loan, and current liability. Current liabilities, enter. Once again we can save it. Then we can go down. It is saying that we can double click on this surplus loss carried to the balance sheet, and we can also give the footer as surplus loss carried to the balance sheet. Enter, save. Then we have here a item called P plus L, profit and loss result, and this we need to give the name as surplus loss carried to the balance sheet. So P plus L, so this is no text exists. Double click on this and give the name as surplus loss carried to the balance sheet, and same we want to have the footer. Enter, then save. Now it is saying that you can display your financial statement version, and for that we have been given the standard transaction code as underscore ALR underscore 87012284, or simply we can run transaction code F.01. Transaction code is F.01. Then we need to have our chart of account ID. GL range we can maintain as 1 to all. Company code ID we have 2244. Here it has taken your financial statement version as a default 2244. If it is not, you can select your relevant financial statement version. Then we need to select the year as current year and last year. if we want to do the comparison with the previous year, then you can give the comparison year. You can also give the period from 1 to 16 for which you want to do the comparison. And under this list output, you need to keep the ready button on classic list and then click on the execute button. So you can just see here we have a surplus loss carried to the balance sheet as this is the value. If you just go down here, you can just see we have just go down. You can just see the start of the text, start of the group and end of the group. Okay, so the start of the group we have maintained for liability as a liability, and end of the group we have maintained as total liability. That is the reason system is showing you this way. And for your share capital, if you remember, we have given the start of group as stores of capital and footer or end of the group we have maintained as share capital. So this is how system is showing you, because you have maintained the start of the group and end of the group. Then for other item you can't see the start of the group because for current liability we have not given, we have only given the end of the group. That is the reason end of the group is coming. So this is the value we have 299,164 for the year 2023. If you also have the values for your previous year, system is going to show you that value and you will be able to see the difference or you will be able to see the variance. So here if you just go down, this is the liability item we have, just go down. Same way we will be having the assets. So you can just see for assets we have the main head as asset and footer as total assets. So just go down, scroll down, you will see here total asset. And for the fixed assets we have given the start of the group as application of fund and end of the group as fixed assets. So this is how the system is showing you. And between this you will see all your GL which has a balance, and here this is the amount system is showing you. Total balance we have of fixed asset 150,000. Same way for the current liability we have not given the start of the group. So these are the balances we have for all these GL, and end of the group we have current asset. So this is 38,050, and here if you just see your current asset, your total asset value is matching with your total liability. So this is how we can create the financial statement version. So this is the item we have income. Same way you can just see here we have the income, total income, and then you can just go down. You will also get it for your expense and total expense. Okay. So this is the output you can display in another way also. So for example, if you want to see it with the drill down mode, so if you want to see it with the drill down mode, for that you can just see this ALB tree control. Select this ALB tree control, click on the execute button. So the way we navigate in the SAP, same way we can navigate the financial statement version to see the balances. So you can just see here it is showing you at the top your income or gain or loss. Then we have here liability. If you want to just close it, if you want to drill down, so under liability we have share capital, how much is the amount for your GL. So all this system is going to show you what is the balance we have for a particular account, then we will be able to drill down. So this is the another type of output we can have if we want to display the financial statement version. And if you just go back, we have the another way of displaying the financial statement version, that is ALB grid control. So we can select this and see the output how it comes. So you can just see in this way the output will come, or in a grid form this financial statement output will come. So again we have the same item, same figures, but different, but it is coming with the grid view. Okay. So this is how we can create and display our financial statement version.